Cruise Cast is a Triple T production. Grab a coffee and a comfy chair. It's time to unpack the cruise world. Now, Beth and Chris.
Hello.
Hello, everyone. Oh, my goodness.
Welcome.
I'm checking my mic.
Welcome.
We're so out of practice with this.
I know.
There we go. Mine looks a little bit better. Hopefully it's not clipping.
We okay?
Yep.
All right. So. Welcome. I'm Beth. This is Chris. And this is the beginning of season 4.
Season 4.
Wow. Did we ever think there was so much to talk about? No.
We can, according to some people who comment on our videos, they wish we would have talked less.
That's all right. Oh, well. Season 4.
The internet comment section is always fun to peruse.
Yes, it is.
when you have made a video.
If you are new to joining us, welcome. This is the podcast version of our channel.
We are back.
Yes.
After a long break.
Thank you all for letting us have a wonderful summer break. We were off social media and we had a great time. Family was in town and we just did a little staycation. And
I did a little recovering with my back.
Yep.
It's 80% better.
Yeah.
Getting there slowly.
So
as people that have probably dealt with back issues and muscle issues and stuff like that, it's a long road back. They don't just heal up like ding, I took a shot and you're better.
I wish, right?
Yeah, I know. No kidding.
All right. What are we doing today on today's podcast?
All right. Well, we have a shout out.
Yeah.
We have something called Kicking Back. I don't even know what that is.
Okay. I don't Chris likes to surprise me on some of these things.
And we're going to talk about mobility.
I'm really excited. We have wanted to talk about this since April. So I'm excited to kind of dig into some of the details for this. So, yeah.
Yeah. It was interesting because we've never had to.
We have a lot of good information to share because we've never had to deal with this before.
Not really.
Yeah.
Not really. I mean, we've been on with someone who was who used a wheelchair to get around a little bit.
Yeah.
But they could kind of walk. I mean, it was just like longer ways where I pushed them and stuff like that. But like total, I mean, I couldn't walk 10 feet.
Right. So we're going to share our experience.
Yes, but listen, hold on, Beth, before we get going. I have a joke.
Okay.
For everyone.
Okay.
This is an old joke. This is an old joke, but I heard it again.
Okay.
And I was like, this is one of my favorite stupid jokes in the world. I'm gonna tell you it because I don't know if you've heard it. You may have heard it. I don't know.
I don't know. I've heard a lot of your jokes. Go for it.
So this Moth walks into the podiatrist's office. Mm-hmm. And the podiatrist says, "Hey, Moth, how can I help you?" Moth says, "Well, I'm having a lot of trouble at work. I'm pretty sure my boss doesn't like me. He kind of belittles my work whenever I do like a report. I'll spend like 2 weeks on one of our clients and I'll give him a really detailed report, lining everything out. I mean, I make like graphs and stuff like that. And he just belittles it. He looks at it and says, this isn't good enough, when I know it's good enough. It's better than any of my coworkers. And I know that he probably is telling his peers about that. So I'm afraid that he just really doesn't like me and there's not a lot I can do." Podiatrist says, "Well, that sounds terrible. I mean, that sounds like a terrible working condition. Have you talked to your boss like directly about it?" Moth says, "Yes, I went to him. I told him my feelings on it. And I thought things were better. He said, yes, I'm very sorry that I treat you that way. I'm going to do better." But then in the next 15 seconds, he'll call me a name to one of my coworkers right there in front of me. It's just belittling. Podiatrist says, well, like I said, that sounds terrible. But that sounds more appropriate for a psychologist. Why did you come in here? Moth says light was on.
That's cute.
As one of my favorite jokes in the world. I was wondering
how that was going to connect.
It's one of my favorite jokes in the world. It's so old.
I like that.
And I had forgotten about it till I saw it on social media. Somebody posted a clip of it. I'm like, I gotta do this. I love this joke.
My turn for a shout out. This week, we are going to do a shout out to Regina Rospenda. Her and her family, probably like a lot of people out there, have cruised Carnival and are just discovering MSC, are going to try MSC for their cruise match and kind of the things that they're starting to hear. So we hope you guys have a great couple cruises coming up the beginning of next year. And we hope you love MSC as much as we do.
No kidding.
So yeah, I'm happy for you guys. Yeah, I really think you're going to like it.
I think so too.
Yeah.
I think it really is a great cruise line.
Yeah.
I mean, I smile when I think of MSC.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I agree. So I'm excited. All right.
Okay.
Back to you. What do you have for
kicking it? What in the world could that mean? Well, what that means is we have a new design in the shop.
Dun, 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 dun.
Relax and kick back. That's what you do when you are on a cruise, isn't it?
That's the best part of cruising.
Especially if you're a melon.
If you're a melon and you're drinking a martini.
A melon in high tops.
That's cute. I like it.
I do too. I want to get a shirt with that, I think.
So,
or maybe a mug. No, because I can't take a mug on a cruise. I could.
As with all the designs, there is a description right under all of our videos.
Yep.
And any of the designs you can put on t-shirts, hoodies, bags, anything you want. So click on that. Let us know if you have any questions. But Chris does a really good job of coming up with some designs. So
I have fun doing those.
Yeah.
That's,
yeah.
I have a lot of fun doing those. All right.
Okay.
That's quick.
I'm going to say one quick thing because there was a little bit of confusion before we get into the bulk of our podcast today.
Okay.
We have started season 1, 2, and 3 of this podcast as MSC Cruise Cast. This season, we're starting it. Technically, the name is Triple T Cruise Cast or the Cruise Cast.
Because we're never going to talk about MSC again.
No, that's not true. Oh. That's what I wanted to make sure.
Yeah.
So we will continue the bulk of these podcasts talking about MSC just because we love them and there's a lot of changes and there's a lot of things to go over. But we do have... oh, yes.
I was just going to say.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about MSC a lot.
Yeah.
And you know why? Really and truly?
Why?
Because MSC is fun.
Yeah. We really have a fun time doing it.
It is such a fun cruise line.
Yeah.
They're goofy. They do extravagant things. They're growing.
Yep. That's
They're
exciting
going
time.
all over. They have some awesome ships. They have a variety of ships.
Right.
It's just a fun line.
Good stuff going
anyway,
for them.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
But we did make an announcement a couple months ago. We are branching out in our travel vlog part of our channel.
Right. Well, I mean, we started doing... When we started, we went all
the different cruise lines, and we kind of focused on MSC for a couple years because of all the changes.
Yeah. It was new to us, so we wanted to. Yeah. When we got on there, we were like, we gotta do this more.
Right. We gotta get some more information out there.
So we kind of focused on that, but we want to get back to experiencing a lot of different cruise lines.
Yeah, so we're excited. We have plans to travel on Virgin Voyages the beginning of the year. And so probably kind of going up 2, and then after that, we'll probably focus a little bit more of these cruise cast on Virgin. And then if we go on the Celebrities New Cruise, we might do that, so we're going to pepper those in, but we just want to make sure that like we're not going to become like a cruise news channel.
No.
There are a number of those already.
They do it way better than we do.
Yeah, so we are just going to kind of focus on our experiences and what
maybe come up with some news every once in a while, but that's not going to be the main focus.
So the bulk is still going to be MSC. So with that being said, we just want to clear up because there was a little confusion of last time. We're going to get into the bulk of that's the second time I said it. I don't know why I have the bulk of our podcast. This was an important one.
This is the hefty meat part.
That's right. This was a really...
Use that instead from now on.
Okay.
Hefty meat.
Hefty... No, I don't want to do that. Sorry. This was an important podcast, and we wanted to do it in this kind of format instead of just a video. You can watch all of our MSC World America videos if you want to see it's like, actually the video of us on that. But we want to go in some like details in the podcast. And what we're talking about is we had to rent a scooter.
Right.
And I'll let Chris go into just a quick recap of why. We had to rent a scooter for a cruise, and there's a lot of information we wanted to share with you about it. So right back to you, Chris. We had MSC World America inaugural booked April 12th of 2025 of this year.
About April 7th.
Yeah.
I stood up.
And didn't stand up.
Which I stood up and my back went, or my hips or something.
Yeah.
Some muscle in there somewhere went, nah.
Yeah.
That's enough standing and walking.
Yeah.
And just, I couldn't hardly walk 5 feet.
Right.
And it only got progressively worse as the cruise got closer.
And then we had to sit in the car because we drove down to Florida from North Carolina, and that probably didn't help either. So, the night before the cruise.
We're
in Miami.
I was like, Beth.
I had got Chris a cane.
Right. I was like, I'm just going to do it because I don't want to be in a scooter or a wheelchair.
Yeah.
For the cruise.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been looking forward to this inaugural for 2 years.
Yeah.
Really, I've got to be in a scooter or a wheelchair.
Yeah.
I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
So you went out and bought me a cane.
Walgreens.
Still,
$12
it helped
cane.
a lot.
Yeah.
But there was no way I could. It took me. If I had walked from like a room to like the lanai area in the back of the ship, it probably would have taken me at least 45 minutes to do it. At least. Probably. Probably longer. Because I really had to stop every 4 or 5 steps. I had to stop. And then stop again. And then stop again. And I was just in a lot of pain. So
if I would have left this up to Chris, he never would have actually made this decision. So we want to kind of put this information out there because your cruise partner might be in the same situation and you're going to have to make this call. Now, it was the night before boarding. So it was probably about 4:00 in the afternoon. And honestly, I don't remember how I thought about it or what, but I just am like seeing Chris. I had to make the decision, we're going to have a bad cruise. We're not going to be able to experience half the stuff that we want to because everything is going to be centered around Chris in pain. And Chris in pain is not a great thing to, spend the whole week, right? So I want to share the company that we used. We're not sponsored by them whatsoever. But I also am going to do a quick...
But we are willing.
We are always willing. Always willing. I want to do a disclaimer because there's going to be somebody out there that will say this. So when we're going over this information and why we're sharing it, we in no way want to advocate getting a scooter because like your toe has an owie boo boo on it, right? Like it needs to be like pretty serious.
You need to have really stubbed to the toe.
No.
Like
no. We
like hard. Like against something like wood.
It definitely changes the way you cruise. And I think that if way too many people just had a scooter for any old reason, it would probably alter a lot of people's cruise experience. So in no way do we want to like push for this. But at some point, you're going to have to make the decision that we need this, right? And so I just want to say that quickly before someone comes at me. Okay, so the company we used was Scoot Around, and we used that company because I put into Google scooter rental Miami cruise. They're the first ones that come up. But I want to say it was actually a really fantastic
I'm glad they were the first ones that came up.
They were fantastic to use. We'll talk a little bit more.
You said this is the night before we went on the cruise, right?
Night before.
Right.
If you're in the same situation...
So like 12 hours.
Exactly. That's why this company, like, I'm sure there's another company too, but they work really closely with a number of cruise lines, especially there in Miami, since it's like this massive industry there. So, you want to make sure you call at least before 4:30 in the afternoon. They close at 5, but their warehouse people like start leaving. And so they need to get the wheelchair or the scooter from the warehouse to the ship. Okay. So just make sure you call in advance. Possibly.
I'm saying possibly, just so clear, possibly they have to move the scooter from the warehouse to the ship.
They might have one already on the ship.
Already have one on the ship that's not accounted for, that somebody hasn't already rented.
Right.
So they might be able to do it. But if they don't, they're going to have to move it from.
So just know that if it's 5 o'clock and after, they're not going to answer their phone. And it's a good chance that you will not get one for the next day. Okay. So just make sure you plan a little bit in advance. They have what they call transportable electric scooters. Now that's important because the cabin doors on the cruise ship are they vary, but they're like 22 to 24 inches wide. And when you rent a scooter, you can't leave it outside in any public area. So you can't you
can't leave it in the hallway.
In the hallway, you can't leave it in the elevator banks.
Right, yeah.
Like it has to go in your cabin. And so the typical scooter that you might have at home or just to get around, like on land, the seat widths and everything are wider. So these particular ones are only like 21 inches. So it gets through your cabin door. So you don't have to have an accessible room. So if you knew in advance and you could get an accessible room, that's fantastic. Accessible rooms are hard to get, especially if maybe an injury happens.
Especially 12 hours before your cruise.
Yeah. If something happens close to, a lot of times those accessible rooms are already gone. So this particular, you just tell them obviously that you're on a cruise ship and they'll make sure that they have one of the skinny, like 21 inch ones, which are really important. So, you can get insurance for them. I highly recommend it. There is 2 different types of insurance. Ask them about prices. But total with the lower insurance, which just was like if we lost it, it came to about $340 for the week. So that was kind of out the door. The rental, them delivering it, them picking it up, taxes, like everything, which sounds like a whole lot of money. At the last minute. $350 sounds like a lot, but I probably would have paid a whole lot more once we were on the ship. So money well spent. And so, and then they have, but like I said, check with them on their insurance. You have to like pick one of them, but I'll let you talk to them and get the quote directly for that. So the great thing about that is what, like Chris was saying, they do have extra on board.
So they keep a certain, they kind of have an agreement with cruise lines. So they keep a certain amount on board.
Yep.
And then, they hopefully have enough to.
Right. Because wouldn't that be like, you would have a concern like, oh, I'm going out on a 7-day cruise. What if like on day 2 it breaks? Right. Well, you're supposed to call them on their 800 number, and then they do have backups on the ship, so they can switch it out.
Usually,
they can have someone to no. Well, they said that they did. So
right, but I'm just saying, if for some reason there's just a ton of people that are renting scooters, hopefully,
But I did feel pretty good as that there was a backup. Now we had 0 issues with ours. It was great. It never like the battery. Chris ran on that thing all day long, and the battery never went down from full.
Probably could have gone 2 days without charging it.
Yeah. So I think that the company itself was great. The price, is okay. They deliver it to your cabin. And so, you'll have to, if you struggle with walking, you'll have to get MSC to help you with a wheelchair from the terminal onto the ship, which they'll send a porter and help you. That porter will bring you to your... Typically, that they'll bring you to your muster station.
You're going so fast.
I am. I'm so sorry. They'll bring you to your muster station, and then they'll bring you to your cabin. And at that point, our scooter was right outside the cabin at that point, and then Chris was able to just transition, and then we headed to the buffet. So, but that was really nice that they will make sure you get up to your scooter.
It was awesome, really.
Yeah.
I mean...
No worry. Like, it was just, you don't have to worry about it.
As soon as I came in, we told somebody that I had trouble walking, and they said, we'll get you... Well, the first person said it's up there on the other side of... Let me put that up there.
While he's doing that, because Chris was like, well, I'll just walk. And I'm like, Chris, we're literally in like the world's largest terminal. This is a massive terminal. Do not walk.
So at that terminal, there's these 2 big old fish tanks. Aquariums, even though they're really just LED screens. Yeah. But on the other side of that, he said you can pick up... But as I was approaching, like a whole bunch of people were like, well, hang out right there. Just no. You don't have to walk up here. We'll bring the wheelchair right to you. Yeah. I ended up walking up there anyway, but
just know you might have to wait a little bit if there's others, because there's only so many, people that are there to help with the wheelchair.
So it took probably about 10 minutes for one to come free because they're helping others. So we just hung out and enjoyed the beautiful
and then
terminal there.
The scooter was fully charged when we got it, and then
it was waiting right there outside the room,
there.
like you said.
And then on disembarkation, we simply left it. In that day, I think we just left it inside the cabin and with a key, and that was it. We didn't have to worry about like returning it or bringing it back to some place in Miami. So as far as like worry free, they do a very good business. I mean, it's very happy with them. So
it was so smooth.
Yeah.
I mean, I really don't know what I was expecting because I've never done it before.
We didn't. We had no idea. Yeah.
But, I was kind of concerned because it was the last minute.
Yeah.
But it was seamless almost, somebody wonderfully nice people.
It's kind of like they've done it before.
There's people inside the terminal that are assigned to it, and then they'll transfer it over to somebody that's authorized to get on the ship.
Yeah.
Now they'll take you right to your room.
I did tip the guy, I don't know, $5 or $10.
Both of them.
$5 or $10, each, who got us on the ship and stuff like that, because he took us to muster. He did everything, so it was really nice. So I would have a couple dollars maybe to hand to them.
Get to know your wheelchair attendant, because you'll be spending the first 30 minutes or so
of your trip
with them. They're wonderful.
Yeah, very nice. Okay, so that's kind of like information. So now we're going to talk a little bit about our experience and what to expect on the ship. We really lucky in the fact that we probably were on one of the best ships possible to be around in a scooter. Brand new, big, and there's a lot. We're going to break this down a little bit, but there's just so many spaces for you. If you're in an older ship with smaller spaces, you just have to, things are a little tighter. But I mean, the ship was beautiful. You didn't have that many times when you had a hard time getting through because there's crowds of people. The
only time that I didn't really take it where I wanted to go was the gift shop.
Yeah.
The MSC gift shop. Mainly because I think it still looked big enough for me to get around in. But the day that we went, everybody else in the ship wanted to go to the gift shop too.
We always go the very first day so we can get our discount. Yeah,
that's probably why. So everybody else is.
I would be nervous about taking it in the gift shop, but
that was packed, so I just kind of stayed outside while Beth went in and got our ship.
Our ship. Let's talk about on and off the ship, just in general.
Sure.
So, getting off. It was really just Ocean Cay.
What do you mean?
And we got off at Puerto Rico. We're going to talk about that separate.
Got off at San Juan, yeah.
First, let me just say, the crew was as amazing as they are normally. They were so incredibly helpful. When they saw Chris come in, they opened the little strap and had him go down his own, lane, which was probably the exit, or for people to get back, the opposite. So he was able to get back on. Was there anything else? I don't really remember too much that I wanted to say about that, other than they made it very easy.
Yeah, they made it very easy. They were, they went with you all the way down the little ramp because they wanted to make sure that you got off safely.
Yeah.
So because at Puerto Rico, it was pretty steep. Yeah. So they were went with me the entire way and made sure that, it wasn't a runaway scooter. I'd end up against the wall on the opposite side of the ship there.
Let's talk about Ocean Cay for a minute while we're doing that, and then we'll talk about Puerto Rico.
Sure.
So Ocean Cay, we were a little concerned because batteries tend to drop a little bit in the heat. So your battery life doesn't typically last as long when it's hot. And we were concerned about what if it dies out there. Okay. There was zero concern. I mean, it lasted
once we were out there was zero concern.
All day.
Yeah. It lasted all day and maybe went down one.
And that was the first time it went down one dot, and there's 9 dots. So it wasn't even close to dying.
Well, I don't, like I said, I never pushed it.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know how far. Sometimes batteries, when they get, about halfway, they start.
Yeah.
So maybe, but still, we were out there for 6 hours, 7 hours, and one dot down. Yeah. So.
It is really nice on Ocean Cay now that they have the walking paths a little bit separate from the path that the golf carts and the transportation carts go on. So we had no problem getting around. I would say the downside is you can't go on the sand with it. I wouldn't go on the sand with it.
With your scooter, right?
With the scooter. And so there aren't a lot of tables at either of the locations because both buffets are now open. And those tables are in the sand. So you have to kind of park your scooter and leave it on the concrete.
Well, especially at the
boho. At the other one, there are a couple tables.
There are a few tables that are up by that are on the concrete.
Side note, if you're at Seekers and you don't have any scooter or anything, please leave those tables available for people with scooters, right?
Yeah, because there's some people that they just can't walk across sand. I mean, they're already having trouble walking, and then they're unsteady on stand.
Yeah.
So just go ahead and take those sand ones.
Yeah. So just as a side note, it made us really aware of little things like that I really
little things that you wouldn't even think of.
I would never have thought of something like that.
Yeah,
right?
I wouldn't think, a scooter or wheelchair person might need this because they can't really use the sand. I wouldn't think of that, but something to think
when you
of,
look at, most of those tables are in the sand. So if you want to get off your scooter and into the water, they do have the beach wheelchairs at Ocean Cay. They look really neat. They are hard to push in the sand, so don't get yourself stuck in a situation. I did not push Chris in that.
No,
I was worried about.
I didn't go in the water this time because I don't think I could have. So
it would have been pretty difficult. They have these nice big inflatable rubber wheels. And so it is a way that you can get around on the sand. But they're very hard to push in the sand. So just an FYI.
They have them
at the transportation centers.
Yeah.
So wherever wherever the trolley stops.
Yeah, or if you don't see one, just ask somebody there.
Yeah.
And they'll radio and they'll get you.
Yeah.
They'll get you one somehow.
Yeah. So there's concrete paths all around Ocean Cay, all the way up over the bridge into Bimini, around to all the food. So we got around no problem. So it's kind of a great stop if you are in a scooter.
Well, I wanted to mention that if you are in a wheelchair and you're not doing like a scooter, or maybe you could get a scooter they have special carts.
Yes.
For folks with disabilities where they can fit a wheelchair on the golf cart.
I don't think a scooter would go on there.
I don't think so either, but I don't know that 100%.
Yeah.
I mean, I
or a walker or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. You can. It's got a nice big open center.
I think
with
they just
a ramp.
have one of those. Yeah.
And if you pull up to one of the transportation center at the one that's right by the ship. And they'll see, that you have a wheelchair, and you can ask them, can I get the accessible cart? And they'll go grab it for you.
I think it's funny how we're calling it a transportation center. That comes from our Disney days.
Exactly.
It's just a pavilion. It's just a stop. It's not really a center. That was funny.
It's a tent.
It's a tent. Let's talk about Puerto Rico, and then something else I want to talk about. If you take it off, we felt very comfortable taking the scooter off the ship. We just did it in the 2 ports though. So just Ocean Cay and Puerto Rico. Now we are super comfortable with Puerto Rico itself. We're really familiar with it. So we knew that we wanted to get a cab to take us and transport us up to the top of the hill, which is the name of Fort Demaro.
Hey,
woo!
You didn't call it Del Toro.
Del Toro. It's one of those. So we knew we wanted to get transportation up there, and then we were going to just like bounce our way down to the bottom. So we felt pretty comfortable doing that.
Right.
I did. I don't know if Chris did. I thought we could get away with it.
I thought that there would be parts where we would be like, how am I going to do this with a scooter? And there were. It turned out there were. But luckily, I could stand up and move a little bit. So I was able to, with Beth's help, move the scooter.
I could lift the scooter onto a curb. So I was able to do that. So if you're going to do something like this kind of adventure, just make sure that the able-bodied person is able to lift it a little, right? And so because, let me start by saying that so many of the streets in Puerto Rico, because it's Old Town, are cobbled. So even when you get off the ship, you're going on, and Chris is like, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, when you first get off the ship, it's
a little crazy.
It is brick.
Yeah.
And it's just...
The fort was great. We didn't go inside the fort. We spent the time outside by the lawn, and it was packed hard enough so you were able to drive the scooter kind of across the lawn, at least parts of it there. And then the sidewalks are like a hodgepodge of different sizes and widths, and sometimes they had a little entrance exit ramp, sometimes they didn't. It was funny.
It's not a uniform thing like you would find in most of the United States.
It is not ADA America. No.
It's sometimes you were on the sidewalk, I was on the sidewalk, and the sidewalk was just wide enough for the scooter.
Yeah.
And you're like, I don't want to move too much. I'll fall off the sidewalk. But most of them were wide enough where somebody could walk by you on the sidewalk while you were on the scooter.
So if you go on an adventure.
But sometimes we come to the corner and like the sidewalk is over there and you have to go down 10 inches, go across cobblestones, and then back up 10 inches. And then you don't see a ramp anywhere. You're like, oh, well, I guess this is the part where I get off and lift.
Right.
So,
it was an adventure we were okay doing. Just be aware and don't get yourself stuck in a situation. Now, I will say how we got up there is we went, most of the ports where your cruise ship is going to stop, they have like a taxi cab stand, and that's where you're going to want to go and tell them you have a scooter. Obviously, they're going to see the scooter. And then what happened was the guy started asking around to some of the people, some of the taxi drivers that had like the big like passenger vans. Some said no, they didn't want to deal with it. And then he found a guy that said yes. So that guy pulled his van up. 3 or 4 guys just lifted the whole thing into the back and put it in. So you'll have to find someone that is willing to do that. And so that the taxi cab stand person will help you find that person.
Yeah.
They're very helpful about getting you in a cab. Now, for example, Puerto Rico, it costs $20 to get from the port up to the fort, which is just standard across the board. And when we got up there, he just like randomly asked someone on the side of the street to help him get it down. Because like I was going to try to help him get it down.
By the time we got to the back of the van, it was already
asked
down.
Someone and they had pulled it down. So I gave him, like I didn't have any small bills with me because I spent them all like at the bars and stuff on board. I only had a 20, but I gave him a 20 because he was great. Like he was one of the ones that said he would do it. So, maybe have a couple dollars to give someone who's going to lift your scooter in and out of the cab. Now, that's one example. I would say if you are somewhere where maybe you're going a little bit further, so I'll just give you an example. Like if you're in Nassau and you want to go to one of the beaches, like that's on the north side of the island, I would plan a return trip, right? So I would tell them to book, tell them a time. You don't pay the full amount ahead. You pay just like half, and then they come back at that time because you don't want to get stuck in a situation where there's maybe just like a car or some way that you can't get your scooter back to the ship.
I was going to say, if you haven't made plans to get back, you're really taking a chance. Yeah. I would say anywhere besides right by the ship.
Yeah.
You're taking a chance.
Yeah, exactly.
As to whether you're going to be able to get a taxi or not.
Yeah.
Because there were a few taxi drivers at the stand that when we went to San Juan that were like, no, I won't transport that. Or they couldn't.
Yeah.
They just had a little car that couldn't transport this.
Exactly.
Scooter, but I think he went to 2 vans before the third one.
Yep.
And those 2 said, no, I can't transport or I won't transport. I don't know what their reason was. I didn't hear it.
Yeah.
But so have a plan. Don't
get yourself stuck in a situation where you have to decide if you are going to go back to the cruise ship or you and your scooter are going to go back to the cruise ship. Please don't let that be a choice.
You are just now a resident of St. Martin or wherever you're at.
Wherever you're at.
You're now living in St. Martin because you can't get back.
Overall, there's no concern about taking these off into the ports. I
would say you're not in any danger of like pirates.
No.
Taking your scooter while you're off. Around in the port. I'd say there's not a really big chance of that. mainly because you can walk faster than they can run away from you on the scooter.
Exactly.
So you don't have to worry about that. Right. It's not like you're dragging around something that's really desirable in thieves' eyes. It's not at all.
No.
They don't want your scooter.
No. I'm going to interject something here before I forget to talk about it because it is
any
huge.
Hefty meat?
No. But renting the scooter was such an enjoyable experience for me, the companion, because there's a basket on the scooter. You don't understand. Like, we film, right? So like I have to carry, anytime we leave the cabin, I have to carry my bag with everything we need to film. Microphones, there's a whole list of stuff. Then I need my
peanut butter jar because I gotta have peanut butter.
There is a bag of stuff I carry around the whole time.
My kettlebell in case I want to do some. I want to work on some biceps while we're out in the port.
You can put it in the basket. And then when we went to Puerto Rico,
I was a rolling purse.
Absolutely, the entire week. I didn't have to carry, my bag just sat inside the basket and it was amazing. When we went off, I had umbrellas in there. I had bottles of water in there, which I typically wouldn't carry because they'd be so heavy. I had our kites. I had that thing packed full. It was amazing because my shoulders didn't hurt the whole time. I loved it. It was a great, great little perk. Side note. Okay, let's talk a little bit about on the ship because there's some good things to note. And again, we're going to give you the example of the World America because that's the ship we were on. So these aren't in any particular order. Let's just talk about getting around in general.
I had no problems getting around. There's a lot of room on the World America.
Yeah.
I imagine on some of the smaller ships, it might be packed a little tighter.
Yeah.
So there might be spots where you're not going to get around as easily as we did on the World America.
Right.
But I would say in general, on most cruise ships, there's plenty of room.
Yep. What was the best part of World America? It has to be the aft bank of elevators. Anyone who's been on there knows it is a massive space that has room for couches in the middle. There's like so many elevators, and the elevators themselves are big. Were you able to do could you turn around? Chris is showing a little video. Okay, that's the elevator bank.
Yeah.
It was amazingly nice. Even when it was at night, when everybody was out and about, there was so much room for Chris to get around. And the elevators were big enough where could you turn all the way around, or did you just have to back up once? Is that called a 2-point?
3-point turn? Inside the elevator?
Inside the elevators.
Oh yeah, I could do a little 3-point turn.
Little 3-point turn. And obviously when it was just the two of us. And
yeah, there had to be nobody in there. I wouldn't have done it with someone in there.
Excuse me.
Oh,
excuse me.
Sorry about bruising your shins there. Sorry about that.
So it actually made this trip so nice because I'm interject something else. The people on the cruise, all of you guys were so amazingly generous and kind about making room, waiting so that you could get on with the scooter or the elevator. I just am amazed because we've never had to cruise with that mindset before, and it makes me very aware now of other people and scooters. And
when it was kind of full, when the doors opened, it was kind of full, which wasn't very often.
Yeah,
but when it happened, I really didn't want to get on there because I didn't want a chance accidentally hitting somebody.
Yeah.
But people were like, "Oh no, plenty of room, plenty of room. Come on in,
hold the elevator door.
Come on, you can do it."
Yeah, and I think the cruise community in general is so gracious about things like that, and we saw such a great side of people.
just real quick, I didn't know if you had this down there, but when you call the elevator, there. So, on the newer MSC ships and some of the other lines, you press what floor you want to go to and how many, on some of them you press how many people, but anyway, there is also on World America, I don't know what other ships have this. Yeah. But it's the first time we noticed it because...
we never...
we had no reason to notice it before, but after you pressed what floor, there a little wheelchair symbol would come up, so you could press that too. And I'm assuming that what that does is it tries to get you a elevator that's either completely empty or maybe just a couple people.
I didn't know.
Are on. I don't know exactly what that does. But
we didn't really do any kind of comparison about what it was like, so we don't know. Hopefully,
it took us like 3 days to see
it at first.
So at first we weren't even pressing it. So and we were having no problem. So just wanted to put that there, that they have that little option to press after you call the elevator. I don't know exactly what the criteria is when you press that, what it is. I don't know if it's looking for a completely empty elevator or one that's right, but it is there.
Yes. Let's talk about theaters, because this was pretty important. The entertainment is a huge thing for us. We love MSC Entertainment. We're going to talk about two particular things on the World America, which is the World Theater, which is the very front, which you consider the main theater, and then the Panorama Lounge, which was at the rear, the aft of the ship. So as far as scooters, there was only one level to the World Theater, which is the front. Sometimes there are like two levels. This one just had one entrance, and the kind of handicapped seating was just a ring around the very top. So then all the stairs kind of went down. So anytime we were in the main theater, we had to find seating just right around that top area, and so we never got a real close good view. Right.
And I know that on other ships, when they have the two levels, they have two entrances. You can go to the bottom, and then right up front, they usually have some handicapped or disabled.
But we're going to tell you something. I don't know if you know this or not, and maybe a Triple T tip. In the Panorama Lounge, which
Triple T secret.
We loved this lounge so much better than the main one, and we highly recommend you see every show back in there. You have to go early. This is the key. You have to go a good amount early to the show. Tell them, obviously they're going to see you have the scooter. They have an elevator. They actually have two secret elevators that are...
They have two?
I think there was one on, as you walked in, I think there was one on the left. No, am I not thinking?
I think there was only one.
Okay, there was only one on the right, and it was back behind curtains, and it was simply a lift. It wasn't really an elevator. It was just a lift. So, and you were on it. I don't know how big it was. It's not big. It was maybe enough for one scooter and maybe
enough
a person.
For one scooter and a few people.
Yeah. And you have to get a crew to assist you back there, and then they run it, and it takes you down to the ground floor. What?
You run it.
Oh, you run it. Okay. Well, the crew gets you on.
They get you on.
Yeah.
But then you press the little button so that it moves.
That's like a little ride.
Yeah, because if you stop pressing it, it just stops.
Yeah.
So you got to hold your finger on it while it goes.
It's a very simple lift. Yeah. But it brings you down to the ground floor, and then you can access that seating right at the very front. That's why it's important that you get there early enough. If you don't, those are the first seats that are gone.
Yeah, so they'll be gone.
Make sure you get to the Panorama Lounge early. Get yourself down the lift, and you have amazing seats for those shows.
And they will move a chair for you.
They'll move tables. They'll move.
Yeah, they'll move everything.
Table, whatever you need, they'll move.
Because I was like, where do I park it now? I don't, because it was the entire thing was lined with chairs down there. So I was like, I don't know where to park it, so I can transfer to the chair. And they're like, oh no, you don't need to transfer.
Yeah,
I'll just move that, and then you can just back in. Oh, okay, great.
So you can either back your scooter in and then move yourself to one of the seats, or you can just sit in the scooter, whichever one you want. How are we doing on time?
We're 49 minutes.
We're going to quickly finish this up. The buffet, the top level of the buffet, the second level of the buffet was great because there were hardly many, not as many people at that one.
I literally think they're 3/4 of the ship, when they got off the ship, had no idea that there was a second level to the buffet.
That's a great place because you can get around a lot easier and find tables. Now, we always found...
Even in the bottom part.
In the bottom part, we always found an area. Yeah. The crew was really great. They would see you. They would come over and they would ask if we wanted any drinks or anything like that. You know, a little bit more than they normally would, just to see. So that was great. Really important part I want to make sure that we talk about. This is the cabin itself and the extension cord to charge your scooter.
Yeah.
So we had...
Maybe in a suite, it might be different, but I think
in an accessible room, it'd be different, sure.
But in a regular like balcony and below, it probably is about the same.
If you're in a regular balcony or an inside cabin, it's going to be extremely tight for your scooter to fit inside your cabin. We had the infinite ocean view and it fit, and we were able to walk around it. Mostly we were able to get around the scooter, so it wasn't an issue. So just think about that, because if you have like an inside cabin, you're going to be crawling over the scooter if you have to go to the bathroom. So that was tight. So we're so thankful that we had that infinite ocean view that gave us that little bit of extra space, and so we were able to walk around. Okay, now we had an issue with one of our extension cords. They confiscated it, stuff that we use for our electronics. I don't even think we could have used that, could we have? Because it needed a 3-prong to charge. You don't.
That one has 3 prongs.
Oh, it did.
Yeah.
You don't get an extension cord when you rent the scooter. Okay. So we were in a situation where one of our extension cords that had the cord, because you're not allowed to take those on, was confiscated. So I had to go down to guest services and I said, I need an extension cord. I have a scooter. And he says, we only rent you extension cords if you have... Am I allowed to say this? The way you're looking at me is like...
It's the truth.
We only rent extension cords to you if you have a CPAP machine. And I looked at him, I said, I have a CPAP machine. And he says, okay. He says, do you need distilled water? I said, no. So what was I supposed to do? Like, we needed to charge the scooter.
Right. So in the room, you couldn't get the scooter by the bed.
Right.
So it had to stay on the side of the bed that's closest to the door.
Right.
There are some plugs over there, but they're European. Yeah. So you can't plug in there with the American scooter.
Yeah.
So the only American plugs were over by the window.
All the way by
like 20 feet away.
Yeah.
So, and the extension cord, the little charging cord cable that they give you with
it's only like 2 feet long or something.
No, it was probably about 10 feet long, but it only got us like halfway to that.
Yeah.
So we needed the extension cord.
Yeah.
Or you'd use your scooter for 2 days and then it'd be dead.
Yeah.
So
you rent them from guest services, and they're nice, big, long, plenty fine. It's $30 that you have to pay up front or charge to your account. And then once you return it at the end of the cruise, they will refund it. So you actually don't end up paying anything. You just have to actually deposit, I should say. You just had to put a $30 deposit.
Right.
A great little hack if you do...
so just to look quickly before you get the hack.
Yeah.
Always, when you're talking with the crew, always refer to your scooter as a CPAP machine. Where can I park my CPAP machine?
Exactly.
Do you have a little do you have like a ramp for my CPAP machine?
Exactly. He was funny. He knew exactly what I was saying, but I don't technically know their rules, and I don't know what I would have done if they said no, but I can't imagine they would deny me renting it.
I don't know. It was very
Okay.
weird. Other than maybe they're like
They only have so many.
They only have so many. Or,
Yeah.
I don't know. They have to have enough for a CPAP machine, or I don't know.
So like I was like every single morning I rolled it up and I put it up in the cupboard because I'm like I don't want them taking it away.
Yeah, them looking around and being like, I don't see a
the
CPAP machine. That's because I sit on my CPAP machine and just drive it around the ship.
A quick little hack that worked really great is I always bring the little magnetic hooks, and I have strong magnetic hooks. Like there's some that you can get that just pop off pretty easy, but you can also get like the heavier duty ones.
Rare earth magnet.
Yeah.
Ones,
and of course the walls to the cabin are metal, so you can put all these on there. And what I did was I kind of looped the extension cord kind of through and then like turned it so it kind of kept the extension cord up against the wall. And I tucked everything in just because I didn't want one of us to get up in the middle of the night and then trip on the extension cord. So it's a great way to keep that safe. That would be a lousy way to that'd be a lousy thing to happen on the ship. So
I was hurt by my CPAP machine.
Exactly. What else do we want to say? MDR, the main dining room. We stuck with the same server. They gave us a table right towards the very front. So Chris didn't have to walk very far, super accommodating.
And if you wanted, they'll take it and park it for you.
They will park it for you.
Or you can just, if you're sitting by the aisle or something, it's not blocking the whole, like a big obstruction.
We were able to leave it right there if we needed to.
You could just leave it there too.
As far as any specialty restaurants, we parked it outside of the restaurant and Chris just walked in.
The bars about the same way.
Yeah.
Usually because the bars were more full sometimes. So I would park outside and just kind of make the little waddle in slowly. But really and truly on most of the bars, when there's not a lot of people in there, you can still get around. It's a big ship.
Yeah.
The club, real quick, the stand-up, when they saw us in the line.
Oh, they were fantastic.
Made an area for us.
Yeah.
So they kind of, saw me in line and said,
we didn't even have a reservation.
Yeah,
they saw
come on in.
They just were like, they wanted to accommodate us. Yeah, they were amazing in the comedy show.
They were able to, make a little area so I could go over by the table.
So overall, every single crew member went up more above and more beyond than they typically do, and making sure Chris was comfortable, and that the scooter was taken care of. All the people that they were cruising to were amazing. Overall, it ended up being a really great experience, and it was day 2 that Chris was doing little spinny wheelies because he was like, wasn't necessarily he had it kind of cranked going in circles. So
nobody really knows what Chris is doing right now.
the last part about one thing I wanted to say is because and then we're going to wrap this all up.
Yep.
Be aware if you're not dealing with this. Be aware, because the most frustrating part that Chris got really upset at is anytime we had to go through the pool area, there is like a designated walkway through all of the chairs and tables that are kind of under the shade, and groups of people, especially in the smoking area and then kind of to the area that was closest to the buffet, groups of people would move their chairs and tables so they could have their big group together, and they would completely block the walkway. And so when we would try to go through, it was like honk the horn and hello, and then people had to move. So just be aware, if there is that natural path and you're moving stuff, make sure to leave a path for people, not just to walk, but for their scooter, because that was a really frustrating, multiple times we would go up there and people had moved things and we can't get through. You got to move it back. So
I didn't mind running into the back.
I know you didn't.
If you're going to block the way, there might be consequences to it, which is maybe I might run into you while you're trying to enjoy your daiquiri. I don't know.
Is there anything else you want to say? Hopefully we've answered most of the questions and our experience.
Finish this up before we hit an hour.
Oh my goodness.
We're at 59 minutes. Quick.
Okay.
You're not being quick.
I'm not being quick.
What
We
was
had a great
the
time.
hefty meat of the
Rent a
of the
scooter if you need
podcast?
it.
It was very easy. Everybody was very accommodating.
It was.
The whole ship was, World America especially, is big
Yep.
enough to accommodate scooters galore.
Yep. So we hope we answered everything. If you have any other particular questions, feel free to ask in the comments, and we'll be happy to share any other information that we know.
You got a tease for next week?
I do have a tease for next week. Maravilia, what is going on with her? She is leaving New York City, and there's
What?
not an MSC ship going back as far
What?
as the schedule. What is going on? What do you guys think? Share with us why you think MSC is leaving New York City. Let us know, and we'll talk about your comments and what we think in next week's episode. All right, that will end it for episode 1 of season 4.
Season 4, E1.
E1. Thank you all.
S4, E1.
Thank you all for listening and watching, and we'll see you in the next episode. Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.